name is Shari Coleman. I am a writer in the Universal Animation Writers Program working at DreamWorks, and I was a part of the Academy Gold Rising class of 2019. I've always wanted to be a creative. I didn't know it was going to be in the film industry. My dad had his own kind of like video company where he would do, like weddings and like just the different events and everything. And so he had like a lot of like the old like editing equipment and the old bulky cameras around. He gave me one of his like cameras, and then he'd also teach me like all the tricks on like the old like editing software and everything. So I was always doing that growing up. Once I got older, like I figured out how to use the editing softwares on the computer, and like I was making my own little things on like my little iPod. The power of Black cinema to me comes down to kind of like just representation. We went from blackface to having Black Panther, like a whole superhero that's like dedicated to like us and like our culture and our community. A character such as Shuri, so smart, so funny, so like relatable, that I love so much. Like being a huge comic book nerd and everything, like having a character like that, like where I feel represented the upcoming generations of our community. I think that's what Black cinema is like that representation of empowerment. I think Moonlight was a very different type of powerful movie for me. I think it was one of the first times like I just like could not control my emotions like watching this film, because it was done in such a beautiful manner, like the colors, the story, and like the way in which it wasn't necessarily even like a linear storyline. Like I want to create films like this. I want to create something that's like this beautiful and like abstract and like just like so raw and so genuine. I think that inspired me as a creative on such a deep level. I'm also like biracial, like I'm mixed and everything, and seeing like, for example, someone like Tessa Thompson or Halle Berry like being represented in media, that's been like very inspiring for me as like a Black woman. Not only is being Black something that like they're like, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do whatever, like also being a woman, it's always you can't do this, you have to be like this, you have to be represented this way. Seeing like more of these like powerful women like taking on more of these powerful roles has been really inspiring. At the same time, I don't think there's enough of them. I think that there's definitely a stigma around Black women, and I think that's still continuing in this day and age, which is kind of like sad to see. I wish I saw more powerful women, like Black women in media. I also feel like slowly it's happening, besides of like films and everything. Like when you see television, I feel like that's happening a little bit more, because like you have like Insecure, for example, that like showcases like Black women in a very different light. And I'm hoping that film can transition into like what television has begun doing, or even like animation has begun doing as well. Right now, the way in which that I've been like pursuing my career and my goals is like applying to this animation writers program, and luckily somehow getting in. Before that was like trying to get into directing through like an editing route, but honestly like my main goal had always been to try to do that through writing. I think getting into the film and television industry is super hard, no matter who you are. I think it's so much harder for people of color and minorities. I think if I had to say one message to like Black artists, is that you don't need to do things in a certain way. There isn't a rule book, there isn't a certain step of guidelines that you need to follow. Whatever stories, whatever you want to put out into the world, like that's what you need to go towards. Like that's what you need to do, because at the end of the day, if you try to do something like based off of like what you think all these other people want from you, I think that you're gonna find yourself very unsuccessful in life, because you're not gonna be true to yourself. You're not gonna be like very genuine to like your artwork, and it's gonna show through whatever you're creating. I think that there's a golden age, hopefully, that is like secretly making its way through the film industry, where like there is a place for those stories, and like just do it. Because like success isn't a transactional thing. It's not based off doing what other people tell you to do. It's based off of you doing what you want to do. And a lot of people won't tell you that.